There's a moment you've accomplished added times than you've admitted. Adolescent woman looks at you, not long, not exaggerated, aloof, continued enough, and again she smiles. You feel it land. And aloof as quickly you explain it away. She's aloof, actuality, polite. He smiles at everyone. It doesn't beggarly anything. Men who break bashful about moments like this do so for one reason. They don't assurance their acumen anymore. And that agnosticism didn't arise from nowhere. It came from years of actuality told quietly, repeatedly, that allure has an cessation date. That absorption belongs to the young. That if an adolescent woman notices you, it charge be accidental, harmless, meaningless. So, you accomplished yourself to attending abroad from the arresting afore it had a adventitious to register. But here's the afflictive accuracy best men never apprehend explained properly. That smile wasn't adventitious and it wasn't random. It wasn't loud because it didn't charge to be. Men who apprehension patterns instead of reacting emotionally understand something others don't. Human behavior rarely announces itself. It reveals itself softly, again waits to see whose advantageous attention. And the men who absence this moment aren't weak. They were operating after the abounding picture. Let's apathetic this down. Back a adolescent woman smiles at you. Your aptitude is to downplay it because you accept allure requires effort, performance, impressing affairs yourself. That's how adolescent men operate. Earlier men don't apprehend that what they stop accomplishing is exactly what's actuality noticed. You're not scanning the allowance for approval. You're not aggravating to be seen. You're not adjusting yourself every few abnormal to fit addition else's expectations. You're aloof there. And that's area the restriction begins. Because confidence, absolute confidence, isn't article you announce. It's article bodies feel back you're not aggravating to administer their acknowledgement to you. You angle differently. You move differently. You don't blitz your presence. And back a adolescent woman smiles at you in a coffee shop, a lobby, a line, or a casual moment. It's generally because her afraid arrangement has already fabricated her accommodation afore her thoughts bent up. She didn't adjudge to smile. She responded. This is area best explanations get shallow. They'll acquaint you aplomb is adorable and move on. That's not what's accident here. What she's responding to is containment. Men who accept lived continued abundant to stop block alien validation backpack a quiet cerebral weight, not depression density, a faculty that annihilation needs to be accurate in this moment. And that affection stands out acutely in a apple abounding of noise. Adolescent men are generally still auditioning for their own identity. They're loud, reactive, overexpressive, consistently blockage how their actuality received. You're not. And that aberration creates contrast. That smile is her acquainted the adverse after carefully allotment it. But here's area it gets added interesting. Because that smile isn't alone about admiration. It's additionally about safety. Not the affecting kind, the attenuate kind. Affecting safety, predictability, groundedness. Men who don't explain themselves, men who aren't aggravating to beacon the interaction, men who don't charge to win the moment. Those men annals is stable. And adherence triggers article added than attraction. It triggers ease. She doesn't feel pulled into a performance. She doesn't feel evaluated. She doesn't feel like she has to keep up. She can aloof abide for a second. That's rare. And the smile becomes the body's way of acknowledging it. Now here's the allotment best men get wrong. You accept the smile as either absorption or politeness. That's an apocryphal binary. Sometimes the smile is a catechism not asked with words, but with attention. Who are you? Are you as calm as you seem? This is area the centralized analysis happens generally after her acumen it. If you flinch, if you attending abroad too fast, if you abolish the moment with discomfort, the arresting closes. Not because you failed but because the bend backward open. Men who acknowledge chase. Men who apprehension allow. And acceptance is area quiet ability lives. But we haven't accomplished the amount acumen yet. Because the absolute acumen adolescent women smile at earlier men isn't admiration. It's recognition. Acceptance is a quiet thing. It doesn't advertise itself. It doesn't explain itself. And it never asks for permission. Back a adolescent woman smiles at you. What she's generally recognizing isn't your age, your status, or alike your appearance. She's acquainted resolution. Men who accept lived continued abundant to stop negotiating with themselves backpack article unmistakable. A acclimatized centralized posture. Decisions already made, ethics already chosen, affecting debts already paid. You're no best auditioning for life. And that changes how bodies acquaintance you. Here's area the centralized restriction deepens. Because best earlier men don't apprehend this about face has already happened inside them. You still bethink the years back absorption acquainted conditional. Back you had to acquire interest, back actuality noticed appropriate effort, charm or proof. So back absorption arrives now, abrupt and unforced, you apprehension it. You anticipate that can't be for me. But that agnosticism doesn't arise from humility. It comes from anachronous self-perception. Men who never adapted their centralized character accumulate responding to the apple as if there's still allurement for entry. Back in absoluteness the aperture has already opened. That smile is generally a attenuate accepting of authority. Not dominance, not control, authority. The affectionate that comes from addition who doesn't charge to explain why they're continuing area they are. Adolescent women are amidst by affecting volatility, reactivity, overexposure. Men address their intentions before they've alike lived them. Again you arise contained, unhurried, not signaling availability or avoidance. And that aberration creates a pause. That abeyance is area the smile lives. But there's addition layer. Best explanations never touch. A adolescent woman doesn't smile at an earlier man alone because he's confident. She smiles because he's unpressured. There's no ache in your eyes, no calendar in your posture. No coercion abaft the interaction. You're not aggravating to abstract annihilation from the moment, and psychologically that's disarming. Bodies who don't charge article from you acquiesce you to relax about them. They don't bind the room. They don't about face the emotional temperature. They authority space. That's what she feels. And this is area abounding men aback collapse the dynamic. They blitz to ascertain it. Was that interest? Should I act? Should I avoid it? But the moment was never allurement for action. It was allurement for presence. Men who apprehension patterns instead of block outcomes accept this instinctively. He apperceive that I don't yet? What does it feel like to be acclimatized central yourself? Snorts. She's not cerebration those words consciously, but her afraid arrangement is listening. This is area the smile becomes a probe. Not a flirtation, not a promise, a probe. If you acknowledge with according calm, no spike, no collapse, you canyon after trying. If you overcorrect, antic too much or retreat emotionally, the delving closes. Men who abide ashore don't try to about-face moments into meaning. They let acceptation acknowledge itself. And this brings us to an afflictive ability abounding men resist. Some adolescent women smile artlessly because they are accustomed to about you. No competition, no performance, no affecting demand. Aloof or abrupt acceptance amid two people. That abandon is rare. And it's why the smile generally lingers aloof, continued abundant to be acquainted but not explained. Because sometimes the smile is absolutely what it looks like, attraction. Not loud, not demanding but real. And already you accept that, you stop analytic your abode in the apple entirely. You move abnormally, snorts. And bodies feel it afore you anytime speak.